What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fann of showmefootball.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. Tonight, I am joined by my good friend Michael D'Arcy of KC Sports Report, and we've got to talk about Tyquan Thornton again. We're going to discuss that right after this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right into this video topic. Tonight, again, I'm joined by my good friend Michael D'Arcy of KC Sports Report. Michael, Tyquan Thornton, the wide receiver that the Kansas City Chiefs signed after he was released from the New England Patriots last year, he's been lighting up training camp, and he's been a guy that we've watched and we've said, you know, this guy might make this team. That's already been a conversation that's been going on. But I think after the first preseason game versus the Arizona Cardinals, those talks have only intensified. Tyquan Thornton looks like a guy that should make this team because not only is he performing really well, but also this is someone that I think Mahomes has trust in, and you've seen that throughout training camp. Like he's someone that is constantly getting open. And if you're doing that, because here, let's be honest, Tyquan Thornton is no better than your wide receiver 5 right now. I mean, Hollywood's ahead of him. Royals is ahead of him. Rasheed is ahead of him when he's not suspended. Juju's probably still ahead of him. And I think that's the biggest difference between the situation in New England and the situation in Kansas City is because I know Patriots fans have warned, Tyquan Thornton's always a guy that has a good training camp and has a good preseason. Then he does nothing when the games mattered. But in New England, he was counted on to be one of their best receivers. Here in Kansas City, if he's your wide receiver 6, I think that's a great situation for him. There's not a lot of pressure on him. He's been showing out. I mean, he had a couple of good catches last night, and then he also had a play where, I mean, Michael, it should have went for a touchdown, but Bailey Zappi overthrew him, which I'm sure he's used to from New England. And maybe that's why he didn't succeed in New England. Sometimes all you need is a change of scenery, and we know New England, especially towards the end of the Belichick era, they weren't really developing offensive players. So, I mean, Michael, do you think Tyquan Thornton is making the team? And if he does, I mean, what kind of expectations do you have for him?
I absolutely think that he will make this team. I think that, with the Rasheed Rice suspension that is in the air, it's a certainty. It's going to happen, but we just don't know when it's going to happen. And so I think you're going to see Tyquan Thornton make this final roster, and he deserves it with how he's played in training camp and in the preseason. I think he's got a much better chemistry with Patrick Mahomes than we think. And also, this is someone that can stretch the field vertically. And that speed, man, you can't teach it. And I'm absolutely in favor of giving him a second chance because, what's the alternative? I mean, Sky Moore? Is it going to be, Jason Brownlee? No, I want to see Tyquan Thornton make the, and that's no disrespect to Brownlee. Like he made a great.
Yeah, he was good.
But I just don't think that he has the upside of Thornton. And again, Thornton should be at his best a number 6, maybe number 5 wide receiver. And if that's his role, he should be fine in that.
Well, we were having this conversation earlier off camera, but when you're looking at Tyquan Thornton making this team, he's battling like the Sky Moores and the Nico Remigios of the world for kind of that last receiver spot. And I think when you look at those guys, specifically Sky Moore, because he's been on this team, and I think a lot of people are assuming that he's on the team this year because of that draft status still, and Veach hasn't cut him yet, so it's like someone would really have to unseat him. But Sky Moore, it's like, what does he do well? I mean, nothing. And you look at the preseason game yesterday, and I know preseason isn't everything, but Sky Moore once again had 0 catches. It's like, what does he do? And when he's out there, what's the trait that separates him from someone like Tyquan Thornton? Like, what's the trait that Sky Moore has to lean on that if you're the defender, you have to take seriously? I just don't know what that is. With Tyquan Thornton, when he's out there, the speed is something you have to take seriously. Like the defenders, he's going to take a defender with him every time he runs a go route. And he has the speed, man. I mean, it's there. And I think the biggest thing that I've been impressed by since he's been in Kansas City is it's not only the speed, but like he's getting open. He's getting separation. I saw him route up Trent McDuffie in a clip during training camp. Like, that's hard to do. And Tyquan Thornton, I mean, he looks like he's put in the work. He looks like a renewed player in this Kansas City offense. And again, I go back to like the whole Mahomes trust thing. I think Mahomes is really Taekquan Thornton has been one of his guys throughout training camp, and I think that speaks a lot to where he is in the pecking order right now. And you know that Mahomes has a say in who makes his team as far as the receivers go. And if he says, hey, find a way to keep Taekquan Thornton on this team, I think that's what the Chiefs are going to try to do. And I just don't think there's too many better players than Taekquan Thornton if he's going to be your wide receiver 6.
I definitely think that he's going to make the roster, and I think that, you know, I'm all for second chances. Like, this is a guy that's still incredibly young. He was drafted in that same class that the Chiefs drafted Sky Moore. It was like, okay, you're kind of swapping out one failed second-round draft pick for another second-round draft pick. But at least the guy, you know, you can look at his circumstances and be like, okay, he's in New England, the coaching carousel, quarterback carousel, a lot of instability. Okay, it kind of makes sense why he didn't really produce. But guess what? Taekquan Thornton has produced more in his NFL career than Sky Moore ever has. And so that is something that he can bring to this offense. And again, if he's your wide receiver 5 or 6, you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, if he's just giving you a big play here or there, which, I mean, he's been doing in training camp and preseason, and I know that's not everything. I know we have to see it in the games that matter, but if he's bringing you a little bit of that, a little bit of this, if he's like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I mean, that's a massive win considering, you know, the time that you brought him in, no one had any expectations for him. I mean, he's just absolutely lit it up in the opportunities that he's had so far in Kansas City. And Michael, you mentioned how he's from that same draft class as Sky Moore. If you could kind of correct that sin or offset that move by hitting on Taekquan Thornton, I think that would make a lot of Chiefs fans very happy.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, because the reason I didn't mention it at the time, the Chiefs traded with the Patriots to go get Sky Moore, right? And then they drafted Thornton afterward.
I would have to go back and take a look.
I believe that's what happened. And if that's what happened, this is almost your second shot at redemption. This is almost bigger than just, you know, a guy that makes this roster after getting cut. This is almost like a chance for Brett Veach to say, you know what? We like this guy. We should have taken this guy, and we didn't.
And then you bring him in. He looks a lot better in your system. We kind of mentioned this in the video that we did for your channel, but it's almost like Robert Tonyan. And Robert Tonyan wasn't necessarily like a failed draft pick or anything, but he's a guy that kind of was struggling to stick for the last couple years. You bring him in last season during the course of the season. He's been in your system for a while now. He's been really good in training camp and preseason, and he's really impressing. And they both look really good in this offense. Sometimes that's all you need is just the right situation for you in order to develop. And I think these are two guys that are really benefiting from being in this Kansas City offense for a while now. And they have this leg up on a lot of the competition.
Just a change in scenery, and also knowing that you're not going to be asked to completely carry the offense.
Exactly.
I think that's a really big distinction, because if Taekquan Thornton had to go somewhere else and be the number 1 wide receiver, he's never going to be that. Like, I think it's pretty safe to say that that's the case. But if you put guys in the right position to succeed, there's value in that. In fact, Andy Reid, there's a clip going around, I think the new documentary that's coming out on Netflix. Andy Reid always sees the good in players, and sometimes definitely that has some downsides to it because there's not a lot of good in some previous players, and he's kind of held on to them a little bit too long. But that's why players love Andy Reid, because he always believes in them almost more than they believe in themselves. And I think that this is a perfect example of maybe Taekquan Thornton's second shot at redemption can, you know, find a spot on the team.
Yeah, for sure. And what I really like about it too, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up this video, but if he's on your roster, I mean, just the sheer amount of speed you have at the receiver position now is just extremely impressive. And I think, you know, we've heard it a lot from Mahomes. We've heard it from Xavier Worthy. We've heard it from a couple of different sources now, like, look out for this Chiefs offense. Like, there's going to be some explosive plays this year. And I don't think they say that if Taekquan Thornton wasn't adding some element to that, because I mean, Hollywood Brown is fast. Jalen Royals is fast. Xavier Worthy is fast. Taekquan Thornton, I mean, you could argue that he might be able to beat Xavier Worthy in a race. I mean, he was very fast coming out of college as well. That's a lot of speed, and I like speed.
And he's a giant too. Like he's not like this, like, you know, small. Like he's built. Pause if necessary. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that, you know, the Chiefs could add to their room. And, you know, if he can catch the football, like he could take that MVS role.
For sure. I definitely agree. But we want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Do you think Tyquan Thornton is making this team? And what are your expectations for him? We'll definitely love to hear from you guys. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at ShowMeFB. And Michael, as for you, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report. And that's about it.
And there you guys have it. And that'll all be in the description down below. Make sure to check it out. That's all we got for you guys in this one. We'll see you all in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.